Hi and welcome back to the channel. My name's Phil, I'm the Ordinary Watch Guy. I've been looking at different watch brands recently and I've highlighted two behemoths of the industry in Vacheron Constantin and Jaeger-LeCoultre. These are two revered watch houses, let's be honest, but I wanted to make a pivot towards what I would describe as a bit of a problem child of the industry today. A brand that has undoubtedly made its mark and its contribution across a storied history of 160 years, but nonetheless it seems to be languishing with numerous off-putting problems and issues, and that brand is Zenith. While criticisms of Jaeger-LeCoultre and Vacheron Constantin tend to be they're too expensive for me, and maybe in the context of JLC they seem very expensive for what they are, the issues surrounding Zenith are far more numerous and significant than that. I'm not having a go at Zenith here because I really love to own a Zenith myself, but I feel like I want to shake the organisation and wake it up a little bit because they should be so much more than what they are today. So let's get into it, guys. Okay, Zenith have really had some high points, and I'm talking fantastic high points in their history. They have been manufacturing in-house consistently since 1865, placing them alongside JLC and Vacheron Constantin as one of the first makers of mechanical watches to do everything under one roof. They developed the groundbreaking El Primero movement in 1969, the first integrated automatic chronograph ever produced, and it measures time to 1/10 of a second. This is one of the greatest mechanical movements in watch history and was utilised by Rolex in establishing the popularity of the Daytona. Zenith have also won more chronometry awards than any other watch brand, more than 2,600 in total. The Defy El Primero 21 movement can measure 1/100th of a second. But here's my favourite Zenith story. In the depth of the quartz crisis, when the great mechanical watchmakers were being scattered in all directions, Zenith's US owners, the Zenith Radio Corporation, ordered the destruction of the mechanical movement tooling. So a watchmaker named Charles Vermeau hid the plans for the El Primero movement and the tools in the attic of the factory. And he didn't just stick it in the attic, he did it meticulously, labelling it and organising it, and he did it completely alone, without permission and in total secrecy. This effectively saved the company in later years and the El Primero movement, and it meant that Zenith could revive mechanical watchmaking in the 1980s in time to collaborate with Rolex on the Daytona for the 16500 series. Charles Vermeau was honoured for his defiance when Zenith named their manufacturing building after him, and quite rightly made him an icon of the brand. So to me, there is so much romance and history in this watch company. I am genuinely moved by the Zenith story. And a lot like JLC, they are a hugely prestigious, top-tier maker of movements that have been used by others. So why are Zenith not celebrated and revered in the same way? The symptoms of the brand weakness surround Zenith, and they can be seen from lots of angles. Their watches are fantastic, but their secondary values are incredibly soft. In fact, on the secondary market, some of the best pound for pound bargains can be found in Zenith. A Zenith Chronomaster Sport, which is a £10,000 plus watch at MSRP, you can scoop a recent example up for less than £5,000 plus VAT on an import. I'm seeing gorgeous open heart El Primero chronographs on Chrono24 for £3,000 plus VAT and less. These watches are genuinely gorgeous with first class mechanical engineering and presentation. But additionally, there's a massive over-reliance on the El Primero movement. In their range, 3 out of 4 watches are based on the El Primero. The Defy, the Chronomaster, the Pilot, they're all El Primero watches. Only the Elite and the limited 160 run GFJ caliber have got different movements. The Elite is a dress watch and a potential alternative to the JLC Master Ultra Thin, with pros and cons. It is significantly cheaper at £5,500 MSRP, and by the way, the secondary value of this watch is also very squishy, so you can get some really great bargains on the secondary for that. But in a battle of the thin watches, the Elite comes in at 9.1 millimeters and the JLC comes in at 7.8. So maybe to some extent you're getting what you pay for there. The marketing of the brand is really quite uncertain. When was the last time that you saw Zenith marketing itself outside of circles of watch geeks? I mean, I'm all for the if you know cool credentials thing, but Zenith take it to the next level. There are 0 endorsements, no event sponsorship, and they don't even have their own boutique experience either, instead relying on Watches of Switzerland to sell Zenith alongside a number of other prominent luxury brands instead. In my mind, if you want to sell watches at over £10,000 each, there's a big step up there. There's a big psychological difference when you make that jump, and you have to be ready to compete with some really big hitters. As a watch geek, Zenith absolutely are not a watch house that I would part with £10,000 at MSRP to get one of their pieces. With the residuals falling like failed puff pastry, I know better than to do that. Even if I was a brand devotee, I know that I can pick up the Chronomaster Sport, a Chronomaster Open Heart and an Elite in the secondary market for the price of a brand new Chronomaster Sport. And someone at Zenith has to address that problem urgently. Where are their new customers coming from? I recently ventured into London to seek out a Chronomaster Sport, and I ended up venturing out from the boutiques of New Bond Street to Selfridges on Oxford Street, a department store. Yes, Selfridges is a pretty prestigious department store, but to be honest, it literally feels like going into TK Maxx. When you compare it to what Chopard are offering at their boutique, for example, the best marketing in the watch sphere is Rolex. There's no debates on that. There's none whatsoever. Their strategy is almost the polar opposite of what Zenith do. They've just spent £50 million on their new boutique, and it is an incredible experience. I often criticise Rolex, but I have to put my hands up here and say that the new boutique is quite something, and it's one of the best experiences that I've had, and I'm surprised to be telling you that. If the best marketing brand in watches can see the value of investing in their own curated experience, and it's worth £50 million to them. And you've got a watch brand that's trying to compete at similar price points, but you've got nothing to counter it with. It feels to me like the life and the enthusiasm is draining out of your brand. This year, Zenith are celebrating 160 years. All I can see from their website is that they're making blue versions of their watches. Wow, that feels actually pretty weak to me. So what do you think? Leave a comment below. Give me your opinion on Zenith. Are you a Zenith owner? Would you consider paying MSRP for a Zenith versus competitive options? And if not, where would you be taking your £10,000 instead? I'd love to hear what you've got to say. Please let me know in the comments below. It would help me a great deal to have you subscribe to my channel. The vast majority of my viewers still are not subscribed, but if you can click that subscribe, it will really help me to grow the channel and the content that I'm providing. Maybe check out one of my previous videos. I'll be back with some new fresh watch content for you soon. Bye for now.